what we've seen even just last week with the threat of SNAP being cut, we saw our food shelf needs double last week, which continues to put a strain on all of our communities, all of our food shelves, all of our churches, and all of our neighbors that do these goodwill that try to make sure that no one goes hungry.
And of course, the Trump administration and Republicans saying that you know, it's up to Democrats at this point to reopen the government or not. So we'll have much more on this, including a little tidbit here on the government shutdown. And could we be seeing a glimmer of hope here? I'll get into that here in just a second. Just wanted to let you know too that something we are watching today is a potential verdict in this case. When we last left you on Friday, we had learned that deliberations had started. It was either Thursday or Friday, but the deliberations had started in this retrial for Lyndon Wiggins. He is the man who police believe orchestrated that 2019 kidnapping and killing of real estate agent Monique Bao. She was lured to a fake listing and then murdered, gruesomely murdered. So his initial conviction was later tossed out on a technicality. This is the retrial. Closing arguments delivered Friday. So yes, the jury did start deliberating that day, and they started at about 9 o'clock this morning, and we'll keep an eye on that and see. And our Paul Bloom will join us here in a little bit, who's been covering that case as well, to weigh in. Also, Minneapolis police investigating, and they do have a person of interest now in what was a deadly shooting late last night. We don't know how old the victim is here, but he's only being described as a juvenile male. The person of interest here, also a juvenile, but again, has not been named a suspect, just a person of interest at this point. This is a shooting that police say in Minneapolis happened around 11 o'clock last night in the Jordan neighborhood. Police saying that a group of teenagers was there for a birthday party, and that the initial call for help said that the victim had shot himself in the basement. Well, now police are looking into whether or not someone else actually pulled that trigger. So we'll keep watch on that for you as well. Okay, also happening today, former Minneapolis police officer Tu Tao is scheduled to walk out of prison today. Now, Tao was convicted of aiding and abetting manslaughter for his involvement in the murder of George Floyd. Tao is the one that you see in the video kind of doing crowd control. In fact, that was his defense in this case, that his only involvement, they said, was that crowd control while George Floyd died under the knee of Derek Chauvin. But prosecutors, of course, argued that Tao had a responsibility to intervene. He was ultimately sentenced to almost 5 years in prison, and again, he is set to be released from prison today. Okay, one more here. A familiar name at the Capitol to many of you, especially if you follow Capitol news at the legislature here in Minnesota. But Republican House Speaker Lisa Demuth officially kicked off her campaign here. It's a crowded field. Demuth joining at least 7 other Republicans who are trying to unseat Governor Tim Walz. They include Dr. Scott Jensen, who of course ran against Walz 4 years ago, State Representative Kristen Robbins, Jeff Johnson, and then Kendall Qualls as well. Speaker Demuth has served in the Minnesota House since 2019. She also is the first black woman to serve as Speaker, and I believe we have a little piece of video here that we wanted to show you.
As House Speaker, I have worked very hard to deliver the biggest spending reduction in Minnesota history. I've stopped devastating cuts to our non-public schools, and I did establish that fraud prevention and agency oversight committee. I am grateful to have the support of many of my colleagues, community leaders, and Minnesotans across the state.
Okay, and today, so we're going to keep the headlines going here with the government, but we're going to take you to the federal government now. So we are on day 34 of this government shutdown, and we're 1 day shy of the longest federal pause in U.S. history, which was 34, and then it kind of creeped into the 35th day. The Senate is scheduled to meet today starting at 2 o'clock our time. That's when they're scheduled to convene. They do have a vote that is scheduled for 4:30 our time, which has been kind of the way that they've been doing it here for the last several weeks. We've had 13 votes come and go. They have failed, and there is no indication that today will be any different. However, I did just want to add a couple of things here. I was reading an interview with the Capitol reporter for WTOP Radio in Washington, D.C. His name is Mitchell Miller, and he points out, and I think I saw this over the weekend, and maybe you did too, that there were a lot of things that happened over the weekend that have and may continue to alter the dynamic heading into this week. One, we know we just talked about the cutoff for SNAP benefits was on Saturday. That same day, open enrollment started for people who may be using the Affordable Care Act. We know that the ACA, those tax credits, big part of this divide. People need information so that they can make their health care decisions now for 2026. So what Miller said today, and what I kind of saw all weekend here, is that there are a lot of people in D.C. who believe that something is likely to shake loose this week. And again, that is speculation based on how reporters who are covering the Capitol. But we have a lot of pain inflicted on, again, the most vulnerable people, loss of SNAP benefits. Tomorrow is election day in a lot of states, including here in Minnesota. So there's the thoughts about political perception. And then, of course, add into that the pressure building within the airline industry. Transportation Secretary watching that situation very closely as the air traffic controller staffing continues to deteriorate. And Miller made an interesting point, too, and I'd forgotten about this, but in 2018-19, the longest shutdown ever, the main reason it finally ended was because there was so much concern about the flight delays and flight safety issues. So that's what ultimately brought it to a head then. It's one of the things we're dealing with now, so we'll continue to watch that for you. But that's the first time I had seen sort of this loud of a rumbling on Capitol Hill that we may be seeing some sort of movement this week. All right, meteorologist Keith Marler is here now to talk about. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? How did the
Yes, my
front yard?
Thanksgiving was great. Actually, to be honest,
I'm so far ahead right now. I can't even keep it all straight.
Because do you know what? We went out to dinner on Saturday night.
Yeah.
We did a little late birthday dinner with just me and Susan and a couple of friends because the kids were gone all weekend. And we got to be like empty nesters, which was very weird for us. Wow. Sideways story, coming back around to the fact that Susan and I went to dinner, and then we ended up bringing a couple of friends with us. And one of their specials was, because it was now November, turkey dinner.
Love it.
Susan ordered, and her friend, turkey dinner for dinner on Saturday.
Did it come with cranberries?
It did come with cranberries, mashed potatoes, gravy, turkey.
Love
came
it.
with the works.
So good.
And they loved it.
Okay, and so yeah, I jumped way ahead. How was your Halloween?
It was wonderful because I did not have to open the door.
What?
Susan and her friend were over on Friday night, and yeah, it was great.
But you love Halloween.
I love Halloween, and I love it even better. This is the first. I didn't have to do anything. I monitored from above, and it was just wonderwe. I got to hear people say, "We like your skeleton." It's like,
because if you answered the door, you would never get out of there. People would be like, "Can I talk to you for a while? You're Keith. You're that weather guy."
Well, it's my neighbors. My neighbors know where I live. But yeah, it was just kind of fun to just kind of chill and hang back and kind of go from the door as I wanted to, and not have to be beholden to the door.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one that does the door, and then Jack and his friend do the door, and then it was chill. It was nice. It was relaxed. And then
so
Susan
nice.
Friday night, I don't know how she did this since I've got the floor at the moment, and I haven't said this all morning. Yeah, look at the door. Thank you to my bride, my wife. I don't know how she did this. My wife's chocolate pie is amazing, and I've talked about this on the air for probably 15 years. It is probably the best pie ever created in the history of mankind. It is that good. And chocolate pie is the only pie that ever exists, and her pie is amazing. But her chocolate pie, somehow, it takes 24 hours to make. It involves every dish and pan and cooking utensil in our kitchen, and it causes our kitchen to disappear under this veil of horror for a day. Somehow, she and my daughter combine under my nose during conference week at school when Susan was gone until 8 o'clock at night on Tuesday and Thursday and left at 7 o'clock in the morning Tuesday and Thursday morning, somehow snuck a chocolate pie being made in my home. Wow. And 9 o'clock, 9:30 on Friday night, Susan walks up into the loft with this thing, and I was like, "What are you doing with the pie? Wait, what? What?" And my mind exploded.
That's amazing.
Best gift I have gotten in years. The surprise and the effort, and then the effort to surprise me was the biggest thing ever.
Good for you for recognizing the effort.
Oh my God, it was huge.
People who don't cook or bake or don't realize how much goes into that. So good for you.
Wow. And that was all we get.
What do you got for us? Can we pull up a
show the 7-day
forecast action here?
I mean, that's amazing right there. The fact that if you've been watching all morning long, hooray. If you're just tuning in for the first time and you have not checked in all weekend long, we have a great week ahead. It's a little gusty today, yes. The winds are gusting upwards of, especially in northern Minnesota, upwards of 40 miles per hour at the moment up around Duluth. There's a wind gust popping close to 30 or 40. And if you're in Duluth or southern St. Louis County, on over toward Reamer, back towards Hill City, back into Lake Mille Lacs, back over toward Pine City, even at Hinckley, there is a red flag warning that has been issued for the day today. That's that elevated fire danger. It's a flat out don't burn anything.
Okay.
Because it's too gusty and too dry. Cold front came on by last night. That's where our extra clouds and our little trace of precipitation came from. It says call it a cold front's wrong because today's warmer than yesterday, but by 2 or 3 or 4 degrees. But it's a dry front. It's lower dew points. So our dew points are in the 20s. Winds are gusting to 30 plus miles per hour for some. And so everyone in the state, although we don't have a red flag warning for everyone, it's very confined up there by Duluth and over toward Lake Mille Lacs.
Okay.
An elevated fire concern. It's probably a better way to say it for everyone.
Okay.
Don't go burning anything today. Today is not a burning day for leaves or limb fall or tree fall or whatever you do in the fall. Don't burn it today.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's sunny and 56. Tomorrow, a little extra cloud cover up north, but those of us in southern Minnesota, 60 is a pretty easy get tomorrow. We might get a little warmer than that, but we're not talking records. Records are deep into the 70s for this time of year. 75 is today's record. That's back in 2020. No problem whatsoever. But northern Minnesota, you'll have some extra cloud cover tomorrow. You got a couple of rain showers, maybe even along and north of Highway 2. It's a weak system up in Canada. And then we have another weak system toward the end of the week. That's a better chance for a couple of drips, maybe Thursday night or Friday as we start to cool off into the more seasonable 40s. And yes, way out there on Saturday. You're going to hear about it from a lot of people that aren't me on social media. I've already seen a couple of stations already ring the bell about Saturday. I already posted about, hey, look at here, what's going on? I'm never going to do that, you know that, because we can talk about it. But yeah, a little chance of rain. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about something else besides rain on Saturday, as we're going to mix in a little something. But you know, what are you going to do on day 6? You can't do anything. It's there's an opportunity for it, sure.
Okay.
But can you predict it that far out? Of course not. We've got 2 other systems to get through first before we can even draw a line of that type of stuff on who's going to see what. But there's not a lot of moisture to tap into. Know that much. Is it even trackable snow up north? I can't even guarantee you it would be called tracking snow as much as it would be a mix possibly coming on. It's something anecdotal. The fact that we can talk about it is kind of an indicative of the fact that it's November. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, exactly. And it's firearm hunting season opens up here in Minnesota this weekend too. And it's always a little different. I know there's some weekends where it's like warm-ish. It has been, but this one will be a little bit cooler. But we'll
30s for highs on Sunday, and even that's not a big transition into a change. That's going to be a couple-day visit. Okay. And then we'll bounce back out. Middle of next week, we'll be back to the 40s plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
So fall. We're getting kind of fall in November.
Yeah, we just take little steps. Put our toes in and come back out again.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you for
letting
that.
me tell my pie story.
That was well worth it, and now you have to bring some pie in. Well, although it's not how much work.
It's gone. Susan said, though, there's enough stuff. She said she'll make me a second one, since I had to share it with a bunch of people that were in her house over the course of the weekend.
Tiny little corner of it.
It's delicious. My father-in-law has only had it once because when he came to visit once, he had it and it nearly killed him. It was that good. Because it's loaded with that much chocolate, thus caffeine, thus sugar, thus everything else.
So that's not good.
It's delicious.
Okay, that sounds amazing. Thank you.
So good it would kill you. I mean, that's
probably not a good way to describe it.
Oh, I'm not dead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow, yeah?
I hope.
Maybe
so. Unless you have some more
pie. You can email us at allday@fox.com because guess what? It's Medicare Monday. And if you got questions, we got answers. Well, we don't. Kelly Jo Briner does from the state of Minnesota. Medicare Monday. Send us your questions. Just put Medicare or questions in the subject line, and she'll be on at 1:45 to answer as many as we can possibly get to. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back. It's 12:20, and what do we do here, Amber? All we do is win, win. Is that how the song goes? I shouldn't have done that. That was embarrassing.
All you do is win, win,
Yeah,
win,
that's
no matter
it.
what.
That's it. That's it. That's
You're
what we do
welcome.
around here.
That's what I'm here for back here.
Something for a Packers fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
I
about
feel
it.
for you. I know you don't. I feel for
Not
you.
a victory
Trust me.
Monday for me. It's a depresso Monday.
You're talking, you're preaching to the choir here. We get it. But Vikings came out on top yesterday in what I think is fair to say was a pleasant surprise for some people. Our Pierre Nugent joins me now. We got a lot to talk about, Pierre. We're going to talk about Vikings, Wolves, Wild, Gophers won, and then Gopher basketball starts tonight. And then the Loons, we don't want to forget about the Loons. But let's start with those Vikings as we await a Kevin O'Connell press conference here in about 10 minutes or so. We'll take that live. I want to know from you what surprised you the most coming out of yesterday's game?
Without a doubt, for me, it was Minnesota's ability to stop the run. I mean, they have not been good at stopping the run all season long, and then you go into a game in Detroit against probably the best two-back monster in the NFL with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and you hold them to just, I believe it was just 65 total yards on the ground, 9 carries, 25 yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. That is something I did not see coming whatsoever in yesterday's game, and I thought that was absolutely the biggest key in Minnesota's ability to win that game.
Who was back in place yesterday that really helped JJ kind of thrive, or did that not matter as much?
No, I definitely think it mattered. I mean, with Brian O'Neill back at right tackle, then with Christian Darrisaw playing the majority of the snaps, Christian Darrisaw earlier in the week was downgraded to a DNP on Thursday, in which we thought it was just a veteran's rest day for his natural rehabilitation with his knee. But there were whispers that perhaps that was not the case, and maybe his knee was bothering him a little bit more than the Vikings were leading on. But it appears that it wasn't bothering him that much because he was suited up and ready to go at left tackle for the Vikings. So having your both starting tackles back when your young quarterback is only making his third start in the NFL, I thought was absolutely huge for J.J. McCarthy. He was sacked a handful of times. That is very true. But at the same time, too, I'd much rather have Brian O'Neill and a 90% Christian Darrisaw at starting a tackle than not having them at all.
Yeah, Andrew Van Ginkel. It was great to see him back out there, too.
Huge to get him back. It's no coincidence. When we were talking about stopping the run and their ability to stop the run, there's no coincidence they were a lot better stopping the run when he was back in the lineup.
Yeah. Did you ever get an update on Aaron Jones at all? Did he get injured? What do we know?
Shoulder clavicle-ish area. We still don't know the extent of that injury just yet. I would have to imagine that Kevin O'Connell is going to address that a little later this afternoon in his press conference. But he was impactful in his he did return in the previous week against the Chargers. But, having him at full capacity certainly helps your young quarterback as well. And that's another part of the field, Amy, where Minnesota has not been very good this year. That's running the football. And they were running the football very effectively yesterday. So it would be another tough blow if Aaron Jones has to miss extended time, but we're not there yet. We don't know all the information yet, and we'll wait to see what Kevin O'Connell has to say.
Okay. Continuing on the winning streak here, and we can circle back to Vikings before we go to KOC, but Wolves win over the weekend, Wild win over the weekend. Wolves play tonight, Nets, right, at Brooklyn? Yes. 6 o'clock is when they play, and then the Wild looks like Tuesday, maybe at home. Your takeaways, let's start with the Wolves really quickly. We're how many games in now? Six games in. I know it's still early, and we still don't have Ant. Any updates on him?
We do have an update on Anthony Edwards actually today, as the team has announced earlier that Anthony Edwards has been cleared to resume basketball activities. However, that does not mean he will be available tonight when the Wolves take on the Nets. They're still evaluating him now. That's a good sign that he has been cleared for these basketball activities to perhaps get him back in practice. But it's probably going to be a little bit more of a slow build-up to get him back. However, that is a great step in the right direction. We may see him a lot sooner than we anticipated, but you will not see him tonight against Brooklyn. But hopefully we get Anthony Edwards back a little sooner than anticipated.
Okay. It was a really good game against the Hornets. Dante DiVincenzo got his nose broken and got right back in there. It was a pretty incredible effort by them to watch that. It was a good confidence booster, hopefully.
Great second half by them. You know, the first half didn't go exactly probably how Chris Fitch wanted it to go, but the second half, really, they responded very, very well, especially on the defensive end. And then, really, when you look at it, Julius Randle continues to just have a terrific, terrific start to the season. He has been as efficient as any member of the Timberwolves team on the floor this season. He has been the guy, especially with Anthony Edwards out of the lineup, you absolutely have to lean on him a little bit more to score the ball at a higher rate. But Julius Randle has just been absolutely sensational to start the season. I can't say enough good things about his start this year.
Okay, let's talk about the Wild, who have not had a good start this year, really, really struggling, but pulled off a win over the weekend. What'd you see?
Well, I saw a team that that was able to stop the puck a little bit better than what they've been able to do in recent weeks. I mean, I think that's really kind of been, I know a lot of people want to have the conversations about their depth in scoring, and I think that's a valid argument to be had. But if you look at the previous contests that they had played, I mean, 4 against Pittsburgh, they lost 6-5 to the Sharks in overtime a few days prior to that. Just things were not looking copacetic really on the defense, on the blue line, and on the defensive side of the puck. But I think that it was good to see them rebound and win in the way that they did over Vancouver over the weekend. But it's going to take a lot more than that for me to feel confident in where this team is going. You heard the comments from Marcus Foligno in the locker room just a few days ago about how he alluded to, you know, it feels a little, not disconnected, that's not the word I want to use, but, you know, things are just not clicking well right now for this team. It's a good start in the right direction, I guess, against Vancouver, but it's going to take a lot more because, as I alluded to earlier, you know, the talk of the scoring depth or lack thereof in the top 6, in the top 9, is, I think, a conversation that is fair to have, and I'm sure that's probably something Bill Guerin is thinking about right now. How can I get more scoring out of my depth?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to run out of time before we talk about the Loons. For sure, won first game of the best-of-3 series. Tell me about it. What do we need to know moving forward?
Game 2 tonight in Seattle. Kickoff a little bit later for all of us here that we're used to. It's a 9:30 kick out in Seattle. But if Minnesota wins tonight, they advance to the next round, and that is something they certainly would love to do because you would love to avoid a Game 3. If there is a Game 3, Minnesota and Seattle would return to Allianz Field on Saturday morning. That would be a do-or-die situation for Minnesota, but they have an opportunity tonight to make it a clean sweep of Seattle. Again, it's a place that they have not had great history in. However, they did win in Seattle for the first time earlier this year, so they do have that hanging at least on their resume for this season.
Okay, and so where we're at in the process is next would be the conference semifinals, right? That would put them in there.
We would be in the conference quarterfinals in the next round, and the conference semis would be the one after the conference finals. Okay. Would be in the one, would be the following step after that.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just kind of trying to go through it in my head. There's going to be a watch party tonight, by the way. We should mention at the Loop in St. Louis Park. Season, oh, wait. No, wait. Sorry. I went to the wrong story. Sorry. There's, wait. Is this, Amber, is this tonight? Is that watch party at the Loop?
Yes,
okay, good.
It's at the Loop West End in St. Louis Park. Yeah, you can go at like 8, I think the doors open. I've been before. It's really fun if you want to go. I will not be there tonight because, like Pierre said, it's hella late and your girl's going to be up at 5 a.m.
Why? And tomorrow's election day.
Not too late for me. I'll be up watching, no problem. So we'll have an update on that game tomorrow.
Keep me posted. You would go into the game Saturday if they lose tonight? I don't want them to lose, but I do want to go to the game.
We will definitely be a Game 3 if there is a Game 3, but I know a lot of Loons fans are hoping to avoid a Game 3 for sure.
You would hope, right?
Amber, do we have a shot up at TCO yet or no?
I do have a shot inside. It looks like the media room is starting to fill up a little bit with the press, but no sign of KOC just yet.
Okay, you just bump us off when we need to go.
Will do. I'll tell you to zip your lips in.
Yep. Shut up. Let's talk about the Gopher men's basketball team starting things up tonight. Season opener and also kind of the start of a new era, so to speak, with a new head coach, Niko Medved.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right there. That's what everybody's looking forward to see what this new chapter of Minnesota men's basketball is going to look like, because let's be honest, I mean, it has not looked great over the last handful of years. I mean, even going back to the last year of Richard Pitino, where things just looked really not great in the fans. That's my issue. I mean, you're not engaging your fan base, really. You're not really giving them a reason to go to Williams Arena. You're not giving them a reason to engage with this team, with this program. But now with Niko Medved, a Minnesota, who we love our Minnesotans from what I've come to understand over the years. But, you know, with his track record at Colorado State and what he was able to do there, they're hoping he can do similar things here in Minnesota. And we're going to get our first glimpse of it tonight when Minnesota is in action. So it's a situation, too, where I know fans have been patient enough, but I think this is a situation where I think you have to preach a little bit of patience. I don't think you're going to completely change this program around in 1 year, but perhaps in 2 years, maybe 3, this program starts to go in a direction that you want to see, and that's at the very least making NCAA tournaments on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Okay. While we have a little bit of time here, let's talk about the Gopher football team overtime win.
Yeah.
Are we in bowl eligibility range right now?
The Gophers are bowl eligible, yeah, with their 6th win. They're now 6-3 on the season, and I know there's a lot of people that really, it's what the impression that I've gotten is it's a win, but yeah, a lot of people are not really all that thrilled with this victory. It's a 23-20 overtime victory against a team that had yet to win a game in Big Ten play. Again, a team in Michigan State that had really struggled defensively over the last handful of weeks. They came into the game on a 5-game losing streak and allowed 31 points or more in each of those 5 games. And Minnesota only mustered 23 points on the board, and they needed overtime to get it done. And there was controversy at the end of the game whether or not Drake Lindsey really crossed the plane before he stepped out of bounds. But in the end, it goes down as a win for Minnesota. A hard-fought win, albeit that. But let's just say the fan base probably did not leave that game feeling all too inspired, even though it does go down as a win in the win column.
Okay. Amber, are we able to put up the shot of TCO or no? Is that something we can do? If so, great. If not, don't worry about it. But circling back here while we're waiting for KOC, he's going to be taking the podium here, scheduled for 12:30. So we'll take that as soon. Thank you. As soon as it starts. I hear rumblings. Pierre, while we're waiting, can we, based on JJ's performance yesterday, is it enough? Is it enough for us to exhale? Is it enough, I guess?
Is it enough for who? The fan base?
Yeah, the fan base and the team. Let's ask a couple different angles there.
For the fan base, I would say I think it probably is enough. I mean, if you're asking me, it's not enough for me. I need to see more of a sample size. And listen, we said it on the Vikings Now podcast yesterday. I am seeing more good than I'm seeing bad, and that's absolutely a good thing. But 3 games is not enough for me to feel completely, fully comfortable with what you have at quarterback. The young man needs more reps. He needs more games. He needs more high-pressure situations under his belt for me to finally buy in. And I know we live in a fast food mentality when it comes to professional sports, but I'm sorry. 3 games is not enough for me to suddenly say this guy is absolutely going to be the franchise quarterback for the next decade plus. He very well could be, but I'm just not ready to proclaim it just yet. But what I have seen so far is a young man that can really thrive under pressure. We saw it against Chicago. We saw it yesterday. I mean, 2 road divisional games where you come out and you execute, particularly in late game situations, to get the win. That is a major step forward for me in terms of a young quarterback's development. But when it comes to putting the team on his back and the ability to, hey, if we're down 7, we're down 6, we're down 4 late in the 4th quarter, go win us a game, I just need to see it more. And I know the numbers are not going to jump out at you, but he did enough to win the game. There were some throws that were missed, sailed a couple of throws, one over Justin Jefferson's head, 2 throws that were thrown behind Jalen Nailor. But we do have to say that final throw to Jalen Nailor to ice the game was picture perfect. So I think right now it's just a matter of getting more reps under his belt and establishing consistency, timing, and rhythm for him to move forward and for me to feel a little bit more comfortable about it.
Okay, and the reaction, I mean, post-game, I know you saw it because I watched you and Ahmad last night in the post-game, and you showed him live at the podium, and he actually got emotional at one point, talking. It was really cool to see that side of him too.
Yeah, it's a cool moment for him, too, because like he said in the post-game press conference as well, he's a Michigan man, and this state means so much to him. He obviously played his college football at the University of Michigan, had so much success there, and to come back after missing the last 6 weeks, to have your first game back, to be in Detroit and playing your first time in Detroit and getting a win, I would have to imagine, it's a huge sigh of relief and a great moment, a moment that he'll remember for a long time. So, it's good to see him back. I know that they just rave about his work ethic and his maturity out at TCO. And I think, like I said, there's more good than bad, and there's more building blocks that I'm seeing than lead me to believe that maybe he just doesn't have it, because I think he does have something here that the Vikings can work with for the next decade and beyond.
Yeah, that consistency piece, though, you're right. That's it's just you said it perfectly. Sample size, I don't think is big enough.
And to be honest, Amy, like for me, I mean, we've watched enough football over the years to know. For me, you need a full year. You need a full year for me to really be able to give a fair evaluation. And by the end of the season, he's not even going to be able to say that he played a full year. So it's 16, 17, 18 games, maybe up to 20 games, I think is when you need to start making a fair evaluation. He's only played 3. So that's not enough for me at this point to crown him or dump him. So I'm willing to be patient with J.J. McCarthy.
Okay, all right. You're not from here, obviously. You're from California, and so people are wondering. They're like, "What? This is why?" Because the rest of us are, we're.
I grew up. I grew up. Listen, growing up in Northern California, I grew up watching Joe Montana, Steve Young. I mean, I was blessed to be able to watch these great quarterbacks over the years, and of course, from afar, this was an era of John Elway and Dan Marino, and then Peyton Manning coming along. I mean, these Brett Favre, these great quarterbacks of that era. It's a high bar to set, but that's the bar, and that's the bar you want your quarterback to be at. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and I don't think everybody should be rushing out right now, especially after yesterday's result. I don't see why everybody should be rushing out and declaring at the top of their lungs that J.J. McCarthy is the next coming. We don't know that yet. He very well could be, and in next year at this point, if he's on his way to a Pro Bowl season, you could take this piece of tape and laugh at me, but I'm willing to be patient and not rush to judgment because I just haven't seen enough sample size yet.
Well, that makes total sense. Absolutely. It's it's been several weeks of us just like waiting to exhale, and then I felt like yesterday could just let a little bit of air of that balloon. So
I mean, the offense looked a lot better, absolutely, with him under center. But at the same time, too, I would also argue that they were able to establish a run game a lot better than what they had in previous weeks, and that makes a difference.
Totally,
that makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
All right, Amber, we're still waiting, obviously, on KOC to take the podium. He has been, a little bit. They've been running a little behind the last couple of weeks. So thought maybe today with the big win, they'd be a little bit more excited to be out there.
Ready to go.
But they're busy. What do you want to do? Do you want to take a break? Do you want to just keep jabbing? Because we can keep going and then just take it.
Let's keep yapping. I'd hate to cut him off, right?
Yeah. Should we let Pierre go? Pierre go?
Pierre, you want to scram?
I don't mind either way. Whatever you guys want to talk about at this point.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can sit here and talk to Amy about driving in Minnesota like till the cows come home, but that's probably a topic for a different show.
100% you could. So, No, well, we could. You know what we could do here? Hang on. Should we skip down? Didn't we have something that we were gonna? Oh, I was gonna mention one thing here. If you get a chance, hang on.
I don't know where she's going, Peter.
You don't.
So
I know, it's scary.
No.
It's okay. It's all, I promise, it's
Could I point out one thing about Gopher football real quick, if I may?
And that's
what
I'm going to, actually. So, yes, please.
Interesting. Well, Gopher football is on bye this week, so you will not see the PJ Flex show or the Gopher pregame show on Fox 9 later this week. However, next week, when they return, they have a monumental task ahead of them. They'll be playing on a Friday night in Eugene, taking on Oregon. That is going to be a huge undertaking for this program. When we look at the schedule the rest of the way, this team has Oregon, don't quote me on this in order, it's Oregon, Northwestern, and Wisconsin still on the schedule. So there's one more game in there that I'm suddenly drawing a blank on. But Oregon is the next game for Minnesota. Now, I know everybody is probably going to be in a rush to pencil that in as a loss, but given the way that things have gone against these big-name opponents earlier this season, like Iowa, like Ohio State, things have not gone well at all for Minnesota. I mean, they've been outscored, 83-6 or whatever between the Iowa game and the Ohio State game. So even though Oregon is looking like an absolute uphill climb, I have to imagine PJ Fleck and his coaching staff is absolutely getting his team ready, because you can't be embarrassed again. I know it's Oregon, I know it's at Oregon, but even if they lose the game, and I've always been one to say, whether you win by 1 or 100, what does it matter? The result is still the same. However, I do feel that this team needs an absolute good showing in Oregon to inspire some type of confidence, especially after we saw a lackluster victory, if you will, against Michigan State.
Okay. I was just going to share really quickly, and again, feel free to just cut us off whenever we have to go. I don't want to miss any of KOC here, but I wanted to share, and I wish I would have thought of this earlier so we could have clipped this and shown at least some of it. But and Pierre, I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but after the game, PJ Fleck had kind of an opening statement, and he talked about the special guests that they had after the game. He said he was wearing a blue wristband, talked about how the community's been through a lot. That's why Heather and I love it here. This is from gopherhold.com. They're just paraphrasing, so I'm using this. But Fletcher's 3 buddies were there, and his brother joined us yesterday. So Fletcher Merkel, the 8-year-old who was one of 2 children who died in the Annunciation shooting. 10-year-old Harper Moisky was the other one. But they hosted Fletcher's 3 buddies, and his brother joined them yesterday, or Saturday. This would have been Saturday. The dads came with and spent a lot of time there. One of Fletcher's greatest memories was the USC game last year, which they talked about at his funeral, and so they had a chance to get together, talk about, to spend about 45 minutes in PJ Fleck's office pregame, went to the locker room, and he just talked about seeing the smiles on their faces and how this is way bigger than football, and talked more about kind of the boat mentality. But if you get a chance, go online and try to find that and just watch the entire thing. It is worth it, and just really, really powerful. It's a layer that not a lot of college football communities have this deeply that we do with PJ Fleck, and it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Pierre.
Good afternoon. Just starting out, kind of picking up where we left off yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening. Just thought it was the type of performance we needed. Not necessarily perfect by any stretch. A lot of things we can continue to improve on and do better as a team. But as far as 3 phases, finding a way in a tough road environment to play complementary football and find our second win in the division, both of them being on the road, is always a real positive thing, and kind of how we did it from talking about what we thought it would take to win the game and seeing those things come to life along the line of scrimmage. Looking at the blocked field goal as a critical play in the game that it feeds right into the turnover stat. And then I thought, the return game, even though we had the touchdown called back, there were still some massive plays to flip the field, give us short fields, which we were able to do something with on offense. And then defensively, just, watching the tape, it felt like it on the field, but watching it back and seeing the physicality that they played with and some of the core principles that we've really tried to improve on as the season has gone on. Ended up with 10 TFLs, just kind of some negative causing plays to make them play in less comfortable downs and distances. I thought was critical. We've already turned the page where we've got a huge challenge this week coming to US Bank Stadium. I think Baltimore is one of the more talented teams in the National Football League. Tremendous respect for John and his staff there, what they do week in and week out. And obviously, like I said, very, very talented group. But we've got to try to find a way to carry the momentum of real work, real tangible improvement of our team that we saw over a period of time last week, and then had come to life to win a football game. Now we've reached the point in the season, we're into November, where I want to see consistency, and I want to see some of those principles continue to be something that are highlighted by our staff and our players each and every week. Just before I turn it over to you guys, just some news on injuries. Positive news early on Aaron Jones. He's sore, obviously, coming out of the game, but the evaluations have been pretty positive today. We'll see how he does throughout the week, but expecting him to be able to kind of hopefully ramp up his workload, and I'll give you guys an update as the week goes on. really Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill, J.J. McCarthy, and Andrew Van Ginkel all came out in a really positive place health-wise coming out of the football game. And then just an update on Theo Jackson. He came in this morning with just some very mild symptoms, and we want to be safe there. So he'll go into the concussion protocol, and we'll see how he can progress throughout the week. But and then in addition to that, C.J. Ham should return to practice in a limited capacity and see how he does throughout the week. And then Josh Oliver will begin working his way back on the side field with the trainers on the rehab field. And Ryan Kelly will also begin kind of some of that side field work. Don't really have an update at this time of the opening his window or anything like that, but want to get him started. He seems to be in a good place and want to kind of see the next part of that process begin.
Kevin, with JJ yesterday, a good game. If he were to have to come out of a game early on, would it be Max? And what are kind of the pros and cons as to his stage as far as being able to come in and play?
Yeah. We only had the two up. We had kind of an emergency plan that would go a couple different routes. But yeah, Max is, to me, he's on his own kind of quarterback progression. But Max is here for a reason. He made our team because we really see some upside for Max, and he's been able to grow throughout the season. And I know he prepares, as if he is one snap away, even when he wasn't. And now he is. So the preparation is real, and I think the confidence level of the guys, just by what they've seen from Max, both running the scout team or reps he's gotten with the group throughout the season, I think the confidence level would be really high in Max. I know my confidence level would be very, very high in Max, knowing he's a young player, knowing it would be his first real opportunity of, he got in the game obviously late against the Bengals, but I would have a lot of confidence in Max, and certainly I know Max most importantly feels the same way.
Kevin, what are the kind of main keys in your mind to repeating that success in the running game over the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think it's, sometimes as you get further and further away from training camp, I think sometimes scheme becomes too much of the conversation when the starting point should always be offensively. There was a very loud environment, but even with the silent cadence, I thought we were able to get off the football and get into blocks and get the proper body position and technique and fundamentals. But there was an element of play style and kind of physicality that needed to be found. And I thought we did those things. They did some things. They played a lot of base defense to 11 personnel, kind of can limit your run menu at times, but we found different ways to try to get the ball in open spaces. And when we needed to get it downhill, we were able to do that. And I think the same thing goes for the defensive side. Scheme is something that's very important. You want to obviously have a good plan to kind of help the guys be in good positions, but it's still about knockback. It's still about defeating blocks, setting edges. And then I thought our tackling, there was many times when you're watching the tape, you see, the first defender arrive, and then there's 3, 4, 5 purple hats showing up quickly, and kind of vice versa on offense. You felt a lot of purple hats finishing at the football and down the field, and even if it was a 3, 4, 5 yard gain, you just felt like there was some playing happening on their side of the line of scrimmage, which I think is critical against what's really one of the more physical teams in football. And we've got another one coming to U.S. Bank Stadium this week, so it's going to be an absolute challenge for our group on both sides.
Kevin, I think yesterday was the first time since you've become the head coach that you guys have played with a lead at Ford Field.
Really? Yeah.
How much does that change things against that team and just for you as a play caller where you're able to play from in front?
Yeah, I think, especially, with it being JJ's third start, I think it just helped mitigate, some potential risk in some areas where it just felt like throughout the game, what it's always felt like, especially at Ford Field, is when they get momentum at different times, it normally stacks and kind of feels like an avalanche at times, that unless you make a significant explosive play or an individual effort play in any of the 1-3 phases, you kind of always feel like you are playing catch-up. It's good to know we actually were, in most cases, playing catch-up. But I thought the big moment of, they obviously go down the field and score. We're able to get the return and put the ball in the end zone for that immediate response. And then you see the defense go out and get a stop, and then we go score again. And kind of felt like from that point forward, it allowed me to make some decisions regarding field position. I thought that was a critical part in the game, where maybe, in earlier games or other games, previous seasons, you feel like you have to go for some of those 4th and 3s at midfield. Instead, we were able to execute some sky punts and get them backed up, and outside of really one drive there in the second quarter, we really played with the field position advantage on our side for a good chunk of that game, and we're able to get stops, then at least drive and get points when we needed to. Would have loved to punch it in there at the end, but it was important to make sure we made that at worst a 10-point game in that moment. So I think it all plays into it, Ben, and I think it's a great point. And how you have to play against really good football teams is you have to try to continue to kind of progress onward, and it's easier to do that where you're not having to chase anything. And then I just thought there were some timely plays. We got into some 2nd and longs, whether it was the Jordan Addison jet sweep, what I now know was a rush for Aaron Jones on the swing pass, got ruled a rushing attempt. But just little plays like that where I thought, not super high-level football of needing to hold it in the pocket to get yards back and possibly risk more negative football, but just really good execution on some things that we got to kind of flip the D&Ds right back in our favor.
Kevin, are you feeling a need at all to add to the quarterback room here this week, or with the trade deadline? Are you feeling pretty set at that spot?
Yeah, I think with bringing John in, it was something where we wanted to make sure we had a third guy in the room, a guy I know very well. He immediately picked up right where I remember being with John. Super smart, has a pretty high level of quickness and athleticism, quick twitch, for a release and kind of a tight, window thrower kind of guy that can, activate a lot of different throw types. And he's got experience, understanding kind of how our pass offense works and how we want to operate. So as he said, he's the old man in the room now, and I think that's important for two young guys that are incredibly close, JJ and Max, and they're always working together. But to have that third guy in there with Josh and Jordan, I feel pretty comfortable with that room right now. You would love to find a way at some point maybe to get John up on the roster to take advantage of the emergency quarterback on game day. It's obviously something that's difficult when that player is on your practice squad and you don't get the advantage of the 49th spot on game day. So that's obviously something we're always trying to work through. But as we've been able to get a little bit more healthy around the rest of our football team, it might be easier said than done in the short term, but something we'll be taking a look at for sure.
Kevin gave Dave balls to Davon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen. Just how important were the contributions that they made yesterday?
Yeah, I think those two guys, just the feeling that you got, when they were, I thought making early down contributions with physicality and knockback, and just you felt them. And then they were big as far as getting Jared off the spot, even when they were able to have a hat on a hat and they were trying to get the ball downfield, or they were trying to get some of those explosive plays that they've kind of made very much, their calling card over the years. Those guys were able to kind of have disruption that I think was felt for 4 quarters. I think Jalen Redmond also played another really good football game. He was playing a little defensive end in some of those groupings with Van Ginkel that made it pretty difficult to run to that side, to those strong side kind of runs. And then, Jonathan Grenard, I thought, was disruptive again. He's so close on a couple of those plays, specifically the one that they got. Jared got out of that Houdini-like and got the ball thrown to Montgomery, who then breaks the tackle and what ended up being a significant play early on there for them to find a way to score, could have very easily been a sack, and we're taking advantage of, momentum on that drive. So a lot of names. Obviously, the two linebackers were significant. I thought Gink being back just provides such a unbelievable presence in there, football IQ, communication. Pair that with what Harry and Metellus do on the back end at the safety spot. It felt good to have that group back together.
Kevin, as you were putting the pressure package together, did you guys think at all about the benefit of keeping Jahmyr Gibbs in pass protection, making it so he can't get out and pursue the receiver?
Yeah, you would much prefer him blocking than being a major weapon in the pass game. And they can still find ways to do that, free release him, use other players, tight ends, or being two-back, possibly formation. So although you want to try to keep him in there as best you can, and he's still a very solid pass protector, very willing and able, and historically has done a pretty good job at that. We did want to try to limit his ability in the pass game to impact the game, because he is as impactful as any running back in the National Football League when he gets the ball in his hands in space. And taking away some of those plays did seem to kind of help us then obviously worry about, the weapons they have at the receiver position, and Laporta is as dynamic as it gets. So it all works together, and I just thought flow and the plan the staff had, and then the way the players made it come to life was really good stuff.
How do you present your defense in practice of the Lamar Jackson look? Do you just have Max do it, or do you use other players?
I'm actually going to do it this week. Yeah, no, I'm going to lace him up, and figure that'll give him the best look at the athleticism that Lamar has. No, we've I'm sure we'll have. I think it's important, it might be a bunch of different players, from a standpoint. I think how Max and John take those reps at the quarterback position, where even if, JG wins on a rush and tags him off, or, Hargrave wins up the middle and tags him off, like, we're going to have those plays finish every single play, to the long past any whistle that I would blow, just to make sure the guys on the back end are, plastering in coverage and understanding that some of the big plays that they make, it's not how they were drawn up. But then, what I think Lamar has done at such a high level to become one of the best at the position in the NFL is make the throws in rhythm accurately, and finding the open guys, knowing exactly where he needs to have his feet and eyes set, and being accurate. I think there's a reason why he's a MVP caliber player and one of the best at the position in the league. It's not just the skill set to cause so many problems athletically. He's an elite thrower of the football, and he's really processing. So you've got to play total team, complete defense, discipline. The rush plan needs to be absolutely ironclad, and we've got to still find a way to get that early down knockback and defend the run with Derrick Henry and all the things that they present that way. So I think it's going to be a lot of guys. It might be some other players, non-quarterbacks, going in there. I don't know that yet. I just know it won't be me. No, it's probably something that, I don't know if it definitely doesn't need to be a secret, because when Baltimore rolls into town, it's not a secret about who's playing quarterback for him and what he's capable of doing.
Not being able to present it in practice. I mean, his record against the NFC is obviously big.
Yeah.
They did lose to Detroit, but
yeah,
overall it's way up there. Does that have anything to do? These guys see him all the time.
Yeah.
On TV, is it just different to see what you see on TV and actually playing against it?
I think it is. I think it's different. I think, it's really kind of along the lines, albeit totally different, but like how teams that can be phenomenal in college football and then they play against a triple option team, and you just don't see it a whole lot. With us, we have seen some, whether it's Jalen Hurts or even Justin Herbert, the movement that really impacted the game, either extending plays when the rush plan was good and it just didn't get home, or when we let some of those players out and either forward to use their legs or extending plays on the perimeter. So it's definitely something we've talked about, and we're going to have to be as good as we've been all season against this challenge for sure. Mark.
Last two. JJ said yesterday that he was happy with his performance, but not really proud of the body of work. So how have you seen him self-evaluate post-game?
Yeah, I mean, he's hard on himself. He's hard on himself, and I think what we saw yesterday, there was some really, really good examples of some of the things we've been working on. You know, when I think back to the throw to Jordan Addison for about 17 on the left side to about the 10-yard line. I mean, the calmness to his lower body, the base, the balance to that drop, and how effortless it seemed was something we've been really working on. And then he had some other reps. I thought the rep in the play pass game where he got moved to his left and threw a field shake route to Justin. I mean, up and over a defender with touch. I even loved the throw to Aaron Jones on the swing route. I mean, up and over, spinning pure, and just it felt like to me we saw some real progression from some of the things that we'd been really working on for a little bit of time. And then I think the importance of him being 100% healthy for the touchdown run on 3rd and 9. There's not very many folks in the league that are outrunning Anzalone to the corner there or getting around him to score. Some of the other plays he was able to make right, even when either in the noise, we went the wrong way, at the running back spot, or there were some plays that could have been catastrophically bad where you just kind of felt his full burst of his athleticism help not only him protect himself, but help the team continue to progress forward. Now, there's still times where it feels like if we can just simply not overanalyze possibly what might be out there for him and skip progressions, just take Justin on the out route early in a down, or just put the ball in play. I thought his first play pass attempt of the day, he checked the ball down to Aaron Jones on 1st down, and it's a positive play. Even if you can go back and hold the clicker and say, well, if you hang on this, maybe you have JA for a big one or whatever it is. I just thought there were some real elements of quarterback play, and then in the moments where maybe it got loose or we can tighten things up, that's what we're here for, and that's all part of the journey he's on. And it definitely helps to have one of his best reps of the day. I don't think it's an uncommon or an accidental circumstance for his best rep of the day, to be that final throw to Jalen Naylor. That's who J.J. McCarthy is, and my trust in him in that moment, knowing we're going to get one-on-one coverage, knowing we're going to get a chance there to put the game away, having learned kind of our lesson a little bit from a year ago in game number 1, made the play and won the game.
Yeah, I mentioned just with 24 hours till the deadline, essentially, how active do you guys plan on being?
Yeah, I think you're always having conversations, and Kwesi and his staff do a phenomenal job of just kind of gauging what possibilities may be out there, if there's a way to improve our team. Obviously, that's something we're going to have dialogue and collaborate about. But ultimately, it feels almost like just the way we've been able to get a little bit more healthy. It feels like, a lot of the players are in this building right now. They just are finally getting a chance to get out there with their teammates and play in the original intent of kind of what we hoped. But yeah, I think it's going to be something ongoing. I know those guys are making sure they're figuring out if there's anything that helps our team, and if we think it's smart, not only in the present but in the future, we'll have that dialogue.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, there is head coach Kevin O'Connell talking about the big win in Detroit yesterday. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to reset here with the second hour of All Day Live. A lot of good stuff coming up for you. Stay with us. Welcome back to All Day Live. We're glad you're here. Just a reminder to send us your Medicare questions. Coming up at 1:45, we're going to have one of the state Medicare product managers with us to take your questions, and hopefully we can answer them live for you, as we do every Monday here for Medicare Monday, as there are so many changes coming, especially with Medicare Advantage heading into the new year. A lot to think about this time of year because, of course, it is open enrollment period. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that over the weekend, open enrollment started for people shopping for health care. Specifically here in Minnesota, of course, we have MNSure, which is our state's health insurance marketplace. It's not an insurance company, but it's where you go to shop, where you go to compare your options, and then ultimately you would enroll here as well. It's for people who want to buy private plans, also for people with lower incomes who might be eligible for some public programs like medical assistance and Minnesota Care as well. So joining me now is the CEO of MNSure, Libby Cullum. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, health insurance, this time of year can be really overwhelming for people, and we wanted to break it down just a little bit. So let's start with, MNSure. We hear that word a lot, but maybe not everybody understands what it is. Who should be kind of paying attention as we're talking about MNSure and what it can do?
Yeah, great question. So MNSure is Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. And so we serve anybody who just doesn't get health insurance through their employer. So these are folks like small business owners, entrepreneurs, gig workers who are maybe stringing a couple different jobs together, farmers, just really anybody who doesn't have health insurance through their employer. So that's kind of the scope of people that we are serving. And
we're seeing, unfortunately, so many more layoffs, it seems like, at big companies and things like that. So this is something those folks really need to be watching. So open enrollment, it started, it's open. This is the opportunity to get in there. I want to try to parse out some of the most important points that you want to get across. So I wanted to first ask you about anything new this year. I know there are some things that a lot of people are reading about in the headlines, and what do you want people to know about, kind of the most important thing they need to know as they approach this time?
Well, right now is our open enrollment period, and so that's the time when folks who need health insurance can come and sign up, renew their plans, or change plans through MNSure.org. We are the only place that you can access federal tax credits that help lower the cost of health insurance. And you've probably heard of the enhanced tax credits that have been in the news quite a bit. Those enhanced tax credits are set to sunset at the end of this calendar year if Congress chooses not to extend them into next year. However, I do really want to make sure folks know that there are still some tax credits available for folks who are eligible, and the savings are really good. So if you are still eligible, and there are many folks who will still have access to some tax credits, you can save on average about $600 per month on your monthly premium. And so that's about $7,000 per year on your health insurance costs. So we really want to encourage folks to come shop, look at all of their options. We have free help with real live humans who can help you kind of walk through all of your questions related to, what kind of coverage might best suit your family's needs.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what we just talked about here, but just as long as we're talking about that, free kind of one-stop shop here, people who are on the other end of the phone, and those people aren't getting commission from they have no skin in the game, right? So you can trust the people you're talking to, correct?
Yeah, so MNSure has a contact center, a call center, and you can call us and we can answer some of your very basic questions. We also have a statewide network of trained and certified navigators and brokers who can really dig into a family situation. Okay. And those are folks who can look at your family's income, your health needs. So maybe you need certain prescription drugs covered, or you want to make sure your doctor stays in your network. Those experts, those trained experts that you can find through MNSure.org or MNSure.org can help you really work through all of those very specific questions that you might have related to your coverage needs.
Okay, and again, it can get really confusing and overwhelming, but I wanted to try to tie a couple of things together here that maybe will help people understand some of the connections. But you had brought up, and I was going to ask you about this. So right now, the federal government is shut down and kind of hinging on this tug of war over extending the tax credits for those who are insured under the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. And again, as you said, those are sunsetting here. But this is the time, though, right now when open enrollment is open, and so people can get in there and start. So what is your best advice for people as we're waiting for the government to kind of reopen? And what's the timeline here? How much time do they have to make these decisions?
Yeah, well, so first, to consumers, I would really want to stress again, even if those enhanced tax credits go away, there is still some financial help available to those who qualify. So I don't want to scare people away. There are still options, really good options through MNSure for folks who need health insurance. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is our deadline for coverage is January 15th, though we do encourage folks to sign up by December 15th. That's our first deadline for coverage, because if you sign up by December 15th, your health insurance will start on January 1st. If you sign up in that month afterwards, your coverage starts on February 1st. So if you want that full year of coverage, come through MNSure.org by December 15th and make sure you sign up for a plan. And again, there are changes every year to health insurance plans and premium rates and all of that. This year, the changes might be a little bit bigger than they have been in the past because of those enhanced tax credits. Yeah. And that's why we're really encouraging folks to really look through all of their options, because there are still quite a few options out there for folks. We partner with 10 reputable licensed companies, health insurance and dental insurance companies. There are about 260 medical and dental plans to choose from on MNSure. All Minnesotans have health plan choices from 2 insurance companies, and most people, depending on where you live, have choices from 3 or more health insurance companies. So there's a lot of choice out there. There are a lot of options, and again, accessing some of that free help is really my best advice, because those folks can help you walk through all of your very specific questions, and you can find that list of brokers and navigators on MNSure.org if you go to our free help section.
Yeah, and a good Q&A kind of section there as well. I went through that, and it really is pretty comprehensive. It answers a lot of questions. If somebody is at home watching this right now and maybe they've just lost their job and they're heading to the holidays and they're thinking, there's no way I can afford health insurance, I mean, what would you say to somebody who's in that situation?
We would say, never assume that you won't qualify for some help, especially if you are between jobs or, really maybe facing some financial hardship. You should absolutely come to MNSure.org and see what you might qualify for. Okay. We are the facilitator of those private health insurance plans, but you could also come to MNSure.org and see if you qualify for Minnesota's public health insurance program. So that's Minnesota Care and medical assistance. And you don't need to know on the front end if you qualify for one of those programs. Just come to MNSure.org. You can put in a little bit of information into our Shop and Compare tool, and we will get you to the right place. We'll make sure that if you are eligible for any kind of financial savings, that you can access those, and just come to MNSure.org to get started.
Okay, just a few seconds left, but also watch out for scammers, right? There's some junk plans and scammers stuff that's happening right now. It's not good.
Yeah, especially right now when there's so much confusion and concern around health insurance rates and the cost. We know some bad actors take advantage of people during that kind of uncertainty. And so your best advice is to go to MNSure.org, because all of our plans are from reputable companies. They are good coverage. Plans sold elsewhere might not offer the same benefits and consumer protection. So just make sure you come to MNSure.org. If you do inadvertently sign up for something that you didn't intend to sign up for, and you find out it's not great coverage, you can call us and we can look into that complaint for you.
Great. Oh, good. Thank you, Libby. Really appreciate it. It's going to be a very busy time for you all. Thanks for making some time for us.
Yeah, thanks for covering this issue.
All right, take care. All right, really quickly, just wanted to update folks in case you missed it at the top of the hour. Last hour, but big news here. The Trump administration says that SNAP, that program, will be partially funded. Last Friday, a couple of judges, federal judges, said that the government does have to use these contingency funds to start funding that program again. However, we still don't have any word on how much people will receive because it's partial, or how quickly they're going to see that money on the debit card. So we're waiting to hear that information as well. 1 in 8 Americans do receive SNAP benefits. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Much more All Day Live to continue after this. Welcome back to All Day Live. Paul Bloom is here, and we wanted to kind of catch you up on a couple of different cases that are going on. We did this with you last week, actually, Paul, and we touched on a few things, but some things are moving here. Jury deliberations in, this is the Monique Bao murder case on retrial.
Retrial. This goes back several years. Monique Bao, the real estate agent, killed, tortured in the back of a U-Haul truck, dumped in North Minneapolis. Tragic case, sick case, disgusting case. We've had several people convicted, sentenced already, but Lyndon Wiggins, the alleged mastermind who was already convicted of first-degree murder, basically orchestrating this in an effort to apparently get at Monique Bao's boyfriend and the father of her 2 children, that there was a kidnapping, a fake real estate showing up in Maple Grove. 2 men would torture and kill her. And there is this connection, we believe, prosecutors certainly believe it, and a prior jury believed it, that Lyndon Wiggins had masterminded the whole plot. So he's on trial. There was some mistakes made. Retired now Judge Pete Cahill during jury instructions to the jury in the last case about aiding and abetting, because there are no allegations here that Lyndon Wiggins actually did the killing. It was done by 2 other men who have been convicted. So there has to be very specific instructions questions read to the jury as they think about how to potentially convict a man of murder if he didn't actually do the killing. There was a mistake made. The case goes back into court. Hennepin County Attorney's Office insisted on taking it all the way through. So they just wrapped up. I think it went 2-3 weeks. Jury got the case on Friday. They went home a little early. That was Halloween. The judge apparently let them cut out a little early, around 3:30. They came back this morning at 9 a.m. and his fate's still in their hands. So we haven't gotten any word from the courthouse today. I don't believe there have been any questions from the jury, which would also bring perhaps the people back into court. So we're just on verdict watch.
Okay. The other big thing today, Tu Tao being released from Kentucky prison
Lexington,
today.
Kentucky. Yeah, federal prison. Remember, this is, if you will, the 4th officer involved in the police killing of George Floyd, going back 5 years now. Tao, as we talked about last week, keeping bystanders at bay. Pete Cahill, the same judge, kind of involved in this case. I remember during sentencing, basically told him, you know, you're not as culpable in this situation as Derek Chauvin, but you're certainly more culpable, more responsible than the 2 rookie officers who were also kneeling on George Floyd's midsection and legs. That's Thomas Lane and J. Alexander King. And he sent Tu Tao away to prison for nearly 5 years. It's kind of a concurrent sentence because he was convicted both in state court and federal court. And his release date is today. I just checked. I don't have an insider contact or source down in the Lexington, Kentucky federal prison, but his release date is November 3rd. We do expect him out today. And what was interesting, I know we talked about it last week, I did have a chance to talk to his attorney over the weekend. And just one of the interesting nuggets about this, I mean, it's not like a headline-making thing, but the last time the lawyer had talked to Tu Tao was in May. Now, remember, in May, that's the 5-year anniversary of the commemoration of what happened. And do you remember what the buzz was at the time? Was Donald Trump maybe going to...
for
Chauvin, but perhaps having implications for the others. So,
and that's the last time the attorney talked.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting timing. Like he said, the last time I spoke to him, obviously, you know, there may be some conversations going into today when you know, the president was thinking about pardoning Derek Chauvin and the potential impact on that case, but we didn't know how serious it was taking, you know, how serious to take it. There were rumors. There were certainly people close to the president at the time, but certainly it prompted a conversation between Tu Tao and his attorney just to at least check in and then maybe discuss what could happen. Obviously, we know now nothing did happen, but Tu Tao should be released from prison sometime today.
Timing, okay. Before I let you go, I do want to talk about it. There's an investigation that you've been working on for quite some time involving a settlement with Metro Transit.
Well, it's a jury verdict. It's a negligence case, and it was really interesting. It made some headlines last month. A man who was trying to board a Metro Transit bus in Minneapolis several years earlier. He was drunk at the time. Metro Transit would pin blame on the fact that he was severely inebriated, up near 0.36 blood alcohol, according to the court documents I read. But the bus driver shuts the door, about to take off, and this guy either tries to get the driver's attention, you know, perhaps, you know, an attempt, you know, you get kind of desperate to get at the door, and he slips and falls on the snowy sidewalk, and he gets kind of pulled under the bus, and the bus back wheels roll over him, and he loses a left leg. He has to have it amputated, and it went to trial because Metro Transit denied all responsibility there, and a jury came back and found the driver and Metro Transit predominantly liable. So the jury has to decide what percentage, who's negligent, and found the bus driver and Metro Transit 80% responsible, 20% on the victim. He lost his left leg. The jury awards him $4 million in damages, medical bills, other you know, losses and the like. But what's interesting is there is a state law that actually caps liability claims against public entities. And in this case, that's $500,000. So even though a community members, the jury says, Metro Transit, you're largely at fault for what happened, give the guy $4 million. He's lost a leg. He's got a tough life ahead. You know, mostly your driver's fault. Well, that settlement, that judgment reverts to $500,000.
Yeah, say that again. So there's a cap. Say that one more time.
Liability cap against public agencies for $500,000.
Public. So it would no matter
if they offer, you know, if the jury wanted to give them $100 million.
Interesting.
It comes back to $500,000. There's a court filing that says, you know, judge, please, you know, redo this judgment officially as $500,000. So that's all this guy will get. We just thought it was interesting. We found another case that's currently pending wait till you see the video of this. It's in my story tonight, but we had somebody on a motorized skateboard trying to get across a crosswalk at Hennepin and Lake, and a bus takes a left turn right into him. The guy gets pulled under the bus, dragged, broke every bone in his body, didn't have anything amputated, but he's got a pending case against Metro Transit. Metro Transit, again, is going to deny all liability, and he's got a trial coming up, and he wonders what the impact will be on all his medical bills and a potential, whether Metro Transit will eventually offer to settle this with him, or if Metro Transit again wants to go to a jury and see who's responsible. But yeah, we take a look. Basically, the focus is the state liability caps.
Interesting.
Which is, yeah.
Very, very. It's been around for a while, these caps?
Since the 1960s, because before the 1960s, you couldn't sue the government.
Oh,
so this was an opportunity to keep insurance, rates in check, and also to maybe stem the tide of a rash of lawsuits. But you think snowplows, you think school buses,
so
public entities, and I know it's been a question that I get asked quite a bit is, then why are there's like gazillion-dollar settlements? You think George Floyd, Justine Ruszczyk Damon, big police lawsuit settlements, if there's this cap. Well, this cap is sort of wrongful death, damaging injuries type cases, like in a silo like that. Civil rights violations do not have those caps. You do something against somebody's civil rights, that's going to fall into a different category. So this is very specific to sort of that, negligence, liability claims, as opposed maybe if a police car were to hit you, it's a different, they would be in that silo, and not necessarily, a civil rights violation where, you've been damaged or hurt because of your race, your religion or something. So anyway, it's a fascinating issue. I think maybe some people would have seen that headline about a month ago, a $4 million lawsuit won by, personal injury attorney for this poor guy who's got his left leg amputated, but got to read the fine print.
Yes, for sure. That story is on tonight at 9.
9 o'clock, and we'll also pop it at 6:30. So for our early evening viewers, so 6:30 and then 9 o'clock on Fox 9.
Okay, and then of course if you can't watch it tonight for whatever reason, it'll be online. And you can catch it there as well. Very good stuff. All right, Paul. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Appreciate
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. Take you out to the conservatory in St. Paul, I believe. A little live shot of some. Oh, there we go. Japanese flower show is happening. We'll be right back. Welcome back to All Day Live. Let's go to LA because everybody loves a parade. The Dodgers, there we go, celebrating their World Series championship title, won on the road in Toronto. My goodness, did you see the game? Incredible. So bad for those Blue Jays fans, but look at how happy they are in LA. There you go. The parade happening. There's also an event at Dodger Stadium in just a little bit as well. So a lot to celebrate there for Dodgers fans. Incredible. All right. Amber is going to join me now to run through a couple of stories. Amber, you just got an update on a story that we were going to cover in our regional rundown here.
Yeah, I was actually just reading through the criminal complaint charges right now, Amy, in the double shooting yesterday morning in Hanska. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I believe so. Yep.
It's kind of near Mankato, New Ulm, I think a little bit further south of that area. So what we know right now, 2 people were killed in their home Sunday morning, like very, very early Sunday morning. A 32-year-old woman and a 50-year-old man shot dead. It turns out the woman's ex-boyfriend is the suspect, and he has just been charged. So his name is Randy Zimmerman. Okay. The woman's son saw Randy in the house Sunday morning, and he is the one that called 911. He heard the commotion outside of his bedroom door, opens the door to see what's going on. He sees the ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend sees him. He tells police that the ex actually pointed the gun at him and says, "Go back in your room." And so that's what he did. He went back in his room, he shut the door, and he sat there quietly and waited and called 911.
Okay. Picked up in Iowa.
Yes, several hours later. So they actually did issue a nationwide warrant for him to track him down. So.
Okay. Sounds good. So we have that update for folks. Was there something else that you wanted to?
The other story I just wanted to quickly mention, there's a big groundbreaking today in Mankato on a new facility for the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. So again, groundbreaking today, a bunch of high-profile people there. This is a big deal because it's going to cut down on like testing times, different lab work that police agencies have to do. So big deal for that area, and hopefully, you know, crimes can get solved quicker with better access in this region. So
yeah, it said that agents and forensic scientists in St. Paul had to drive hundreds of miles to reach the scene.
I mean, it's a several-hour round trip.
Yeah, every mile means precious time lost in protecting communities and pursuing justice, and so that's about to change. So that's maybe we can set up an interview segment on that later this week or next
Opening
week to talk about
expected
that.
in early 2027, so a little ways off, but it is coming.
Okay, I know we're waiting on a guest to sign
He's
in.
on.
Oh, he is? Oh, fantastic. Okay, let's should we forge ahead then with that?
Forge
okay,
on.
perfect. So there are let's see, is it 40,000 or 400,000? I thought it was 400,000 McDonald's in the world. It's 40? Gosh, I thought it was more than that. And every year, the corporation gives the Ray Kroc Award to the top 1% of McDonald's managers. Ray Kroc, of course, the founder of McDonald's. Well, last week, the general manager at the Apache Drive McDonald's in Rochester won this award. He received this award. So manager Mario Gonzalez is joining us now. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me fine?
We can hear you just fine. Are you at work right now?
Yes, I am.
Nice. You got a little break time. Appreciate you making some time over what's probably a busy lunchtime for you. So I'm curious, how did you find out that you had won this really prestigious award?
So I was at this meeting with very high-ranked supervisors, and actually I was in a meeting with the president of McDonald's. So very interesting. When they told me that I won the award, I was, very shocked, very shocked, because I don't think, it was very unexpected.
Now, are you nominated for this kind of an award? Do you enter a competition? How does it work?
I guess I was nominated by several supervisors. They tried to keep it very secret. And then, so I guess it depends on your performance, your results, and the business, of course. And then I think they go from there.
So you seem like you're probably too humble to tell me why you're so great and why you won the award, but what did they say about you to get you to win this award? It must have been pretty amazing stuff.
I guess they say that it's my leadership, the way I coach, the way I teach others. And then, I mean, I enjoy coming in every day. I mean, I like coaching, teaching others what I know. I mean, I just enjoy working with what I call my family.
Oh, that's awesome. Tell me about your journey at McDonald's. When did you start? All of that.
So I started when I was 19 years old. I have been working for McDonald's for 14 years now. I have worked for 3 different locations. I have worked for a couple restaurants here in Rochester and one in Sombrero, Minnesota. So here at the one at the Apache Mall, have worked for 5 years now.
Wow. And you've been general manager for about, is it 7 years?
7 years. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. What is it about working there, and like what motivates you to kind of get up and go to work every day and just like make it the best day?
I guess it's just the community here, the people. I think Rochester has really good, like the employees are great, the guests in the morning. Every day we always, I mean, I keep about the same people every day. I mean, they know their names, and I usually know what they like too. You know, like they. I mean, it's amazing. You know, to see them every day. It's just so great.
Okay, I got to ask you about your favorites. What are some of your favorite things to eat when you're working?
I definitely like the snack wraps. I am very happy that they're back. And then I also like the quarter pounder with cheese.
Heck yeah, obviously. But yeah, the snack wraps are always a big hit.
Yeah.
You get a couple of different things with this award, and one of them is that you get, did I read this right? You get to go to the McDonald's Worldwide Convention. What is that?
I guess that's where I get to meet the other 136 winners too. We get a convention, we get I guess a dinner with that. I guess I will know more once I get there.
Where is it? Is it somewhere fun?
I would. So what I heard, and then so I guess it's sometimes you go to Vegas.
Okay.
So I mean. I think that'll be a great
Vegas would be fun.
Great day. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it would be. I noticed your vest says Road to Gold. Is that something that they gave you, or is that something you just have and you wear all the time?
This is something I wear all the time now. I mean, this is one of my favorite jackets that I wear here at work, and I mean, it's kind of cold sometimes, and it's in between right now. So
yeah. What are your duties as general manager now? Are you mostly overseeing, or do you find yourself kind of in the thick of it too?
So it depends on the day. So I usually oversee what everybody's doing, coaching. I mean, I love coaching. I tell them, you know, like if I see something that they're doing wrong or incorrect, I like to tell them, like, hey, this is not the right way. Please, let's, find a way to get it right. Because, I mean, obviously the guests deserve, to be well served.
Yeah. How are you feeling now? Are people at work treating you a little bit different? Are they kind of having some fun with this? Or I bet everybody's really proud of you.
I mean, it's an honor. The last, I would say, 4 or 5 days, whenever I see a customer, they come up to me and they congratulate me for this. I mean, it's been great. I'm very proud of myself, proud of my team. They're the ones who, at the end of the day, are the ones who, are doing. I always thought that if it wasn't because of them, I don't think I would have won this award.
Well, congratulations. I mean, 1%, top 1% in the world. I mean, not just Minnesota, not just the U.S., but in the world. It's really a really cool honor. Thanks for joining us, and congratulations again.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Bye. All right, let's take a quick break, and we will be right back after this. Hi there, welcome back. It is Medicare Monday, and it is the time in the show where we take your questions and hopefully get you answers. Joining me now is Kelly Jo Greiner, Medicare Product Manager for the state. Thanks again for joining us, Kelly Jo.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, let's just dive in, not waste any time. We've got some questions for you. This is from a viewer named Amy. She says, my mom's UCare Medicare Advantage plan is going away, so she decided which new plan she wants to choose. But we've been unable to log in the Medicare.gov website. We've changed her password 3 or 4 times on different days with no success. Have you heard about anybody else having this kind of a problem?
I have not. I guess I'm not surprised that there are challenges with the website. What I would encourage her to do is to call 1-800-MEDICARE and ask them for help, or you can call Minnesota Aging Pathways, which used to be the senior linkage line, at 1-800-333-2433, and we can help you set up that password. We help people do this all day long. Yeah. And I haven't heard from the staff that there's been a problem with that part of the website.
Okay, good to know. And also, you know, carve out some time, have everything in order, because the calls are taking a while. Clearly, it's personalized information. And you did mention too on the Medicare.gov site that in order to get in and set up, I just want to remind people, it's like this 2-factor authentication thing where, you know, there's quite a bit that goes into it, but if you have somebody to help you or you know how to do it, that is going to be your probably quickest way to get it done. Thank you for that. So from Faith, we have a question. Do these Advantage changes include the Veterans Advantage plan on Medicare?
Oh, that's a great question. The veterans plans are not changing like the regular Medicare Advantage plans are changing. So you're good to go.
Okay, well that's easy. That's an easy one to answer, and probably some good news for anybody who has that. Also, we don't have this one on a graphic, but along those lines, I saw a couple of questions that came in. I don't know if we'll have time to put on there, but if somebody has a loved one in a nursing home, does she have to worry about any of this? And then hospice was another kind of subcategory of, like, if someone's on hospice, do they need to be worried about this as well?
Well, let me give you an example. If somebody is on UCare Medicare Advantage plan and they're in a skilled nursing facility or a nursing home, they are going to need to change plans in order to have the Medicare coverage on January 1st. So they should be concerned about that. If they have a plan that is going to be available in January, they don't need to worry about it. They don't need to make any changes. If they are on medical assistance, otherwise known as Medicaid, which most people in a nursing home end up having to go on because of the high cost, you don't have to worry about that either. Okay. You would just be able to stay with your plan, again, unless it's UCare, because UCare is making changes in a lot of their plans.
Yep, and sorry, go ahead.
And the second part was the hospice question. And all of the Medicare Advantage plans now offer a hospice benefit. So if you are on hospice and are satisfied with it and are not with UCare, you will be able to stay with that plan.
Okay.
As long as the plan you have is going to be available in 2026.
Okay, and just to step back for a second to give some context, anybody who's watching this who has UCare and you currently have Medicare Advantage, you're the folks that we're most concerned about, right, Kelly Jo? I mean, you're the ones who are facing the biggest changes, but others, if you have Medicare Advantage with other providers, still, I think your advice has just been just check because it's changing in some counties and not others, that kind of thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, there are plan changes with Aetna, United Healthcare, Humana, and Health Partners as well.
How about Medica?
So it's not affecting, and Medica too, and it's not affecting all counties, but it's affecting some throughout the state in various counties. UCare is affected in all 87 counties.
Yes, those are the folks that we really want to kind of, with a, stand on the top of the roof and just yell this every day, because these are the folks that we're most concerned about heading into the new year. We want people to have that coverage. The next question comes from Bill. He says, I'm going to be 62 next year, thinking of collecting Medicare since I'm not working. I only work part-time. What's the school of thought on starting Medicare at 62, or is it better to wait?
Unfortunately, you cannot get Medicare till you're age 65 unless you are on Social Security disability for 24 consecutive months. So that is not going to be an option for you at this point in time. What you can do at age 62 is collect Social Security, and I don't know if that's what you're thinking of doing, but Medicare eligibility for most people starts at age 65.
Okay. This might have a little bit of a crossover here. I wanted to ask you this question on behalf of a viewer who says, if I choose to switch to original Medicare, so not Medicare Advantage, but original Medicare, will the deductions stop? This could help me to decide to switch because I would receive my full Social Security payment. Then I could use those funds to pay my supplement premium. Does that make sense?
That is a great question. And one of the things a lot of people don't fully understand is if you enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, you still have to pay the Medicare Part B premium. And for most people, that's taken out of your Social Security check. So that amount, unless you are on a special program for low-income people, you would still have to pay that Part B premium amount.
Okay. This one just fresh in here from Diane. This is another good one. Can my husband go off Medicare and go on my work insurance and then go back on Medicare when I retire?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
There are people that do that all the time.
Fantastic.
All you need to do is call Social Security and let them know that you are making that change and you are going to have your spouse's employer group health insurance coverage, so you don't need Medicare. And then you would not have to pay the Medicare Part B premium either, which would save you some money.
Okay. How is it going right now? Every week when we talk to you, I know you are right there in the thick of it as your folks are taking calls and answering these questions through the Pathways, Minnesota Aging Pathways line, formerly Senior Linkage line. How are things going volume-wise? When should people call when they don't have to maybe wait as long?
Yeah, things are still very busy, as you can imagine. And we encourage people, it used to be early morning. Now we're saying call about 1 o'clock. So 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And the other thing is we are looking at possibly hiring some contractors that know Medicare and know call center work and getting some help from them so we don't have this call backlog that we have, and we don't have these extra long wait times that we know is so frustrating for people. We know that people have been so patient waiting, but they would prefer to not have these long waits, and we would prefer to not have them either.
Yeah, and just really briefly, I wanted to help people understand the different players involved here. So you see the Minnesota Aging Pathways, which used to be the Senior Linkage line. That's what Kelly Jo is representing here, and those folks can help you explore options, right? You want to kind of delineate what they're doing compared to, say, a broker?
Sure. Through 1-800-333-2433, Minnesota Aging Pathways, we will help people look at all of their options. If they make a choice, we will help them enroll in a plan. What we will not do is make that decision for them. And we will look at all plan options, just not a few of them. Brokers and agents are wonderful folks to seek out for help. If you have got a broker or agent, they can help you with selecting a plan and enrolling in a plan. The one thing to be aware of is they may be only selling plans from certain companies, so those may be the plans they're going to want you to look at enrolling in. And not that that may not be the best plan for you, it may very well be.
Okay, really quickly, last one. If I turn 65 in May, when do I have to apply for Medicare?
You turn 65
in May.
In May, you should do it 3 months before your 65th birthday.
There we go. Kelly Jo, thank you for your time. We'll see you hopefully back here, same place next Monday for more Q&A. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Take
and
care.
everybody have a great day.
Yeah,
Bye.
we'll see you soon. Kelly Jo Greiner.
Bye.
All right. Okay, Amber, as we close things out here, so much to talk about there. There's never enough time, but we'll do what we can every Monday for the foreseeable future. We'll talk about that, and we also at some point need to talk about what's happening with the brokers too, because many of them are going to be losing out on a lot of commission. It may put some people out of business in some parts of the state as well.
Tim Drop, if you're watching.
Yeah.
On and break
exactly.
Down.
A lot to talk about with open enrollment. We have, MNSure open enrollment that's going right now. We have this open enrollment for Medicare changes. So much in the health insurance world right now. And then of course everything happening with the government shutdown, hinging on enhanced tax credits for folks as well when it comes to health insurance. So a lot of the news you're seeing right now is just really revolving around this world, and hopefully we can try to make a little bit of sense of it for folks. So, okay.
We've got about 60 seconds, Amy.
60.
So,
okay.
Can I selfishly show my favorite video from my vacation?
Yes. Do you want to tell people what you were doing?
I went to Mexico and I went to Canada. I know, very different. Packing was very, very hard in my suitcase. Weighed a lot. Did I pay some fees? Yes. Did the flight attendant, when I checked it in, literally look at me and go, oof? Yes, she did.
Let's see it.
But we made it. I'm back. I love Vancouver. I wish I was an honorary Canadian or something. It's incredible. And this is my favorite video from Vancouver. This is the Sea to Sky gondola. It's actually up in Squamish. I believe I'm saying that right, which is about 30 minutes north of Vancouver. And this is a time lapse. It'll go quick, but it really took 10 minutes.
Okay, we got to go after this, but we're going to run this again tomorrow, okay?
It's so good.
Promise me.
So good.
Okay.